and we're doing things for this country that should have been done for many, many years. We've had this abuse by many other countries and groups of countries that were put together in order to take advantage of the United States, and we don't want that to happen. We're not going to let that happen. It's probably one of the reasons I was elected, maybe one of the main reasons, but we're not going to let that happen. We have right now an $800 billion trade deficit with the world. So think of that. So let's say we have 500 to 375, but let's say we have 500 with China, but we have 800 total with the world. That would mean that China is more than half. So we're going to get it taken care of. And frankly, it's going to make us a much stronger, much richer nation. The word is reciprocal. That's the word I want everyone to remember. We want reciprocal, mirror. Some people call it a mirror tariff or a mirror tax. Just use the word reciprocal. If they charge us, we charge them the same thing. That's the way it's got to be. That's not the way it is. For many, many years, for many decades, it has not been that way. And I will say the people we're negotiating with, smilingly, they really agree with us. I really believe they cannot believe they've gotten away with this for so long.
So just as the mainstream media had gotten used to the stock market rallying towards new all-time highs into the end of April, suddenly, out of the blue is trade war panic as it hits the markets and apparently is responsible for the ongoing downturn in the US and world stock market indices. This illustrates the way the mainstream media tends to work, where the big news story of the day is used to explain the direction of a market, with the same news usually spinned as an explanation for either when the market goes up or down. And May's big news story to explain the downswing is the latest saga in the US-China trade war, namely the increased tariffs from 10% to 25% to kick in on at least 250 billion of Chinese goods today. That's Friday 10th of May. Triggered by China trying to pull a fast one on the US by backtracking on earlier promises, which just illustrates that no one can trust what China says, not even the world superpower. What's actually surprising is how clueless the mainstream financial media truly is in terms of what drives markets and trends. Well, it shouldn't be so surprising given that the media is basically populated by journalists trained to churn out highly convincing polished commentary, even if it's usually of no practical value. So the mainstream media still fails to understand that the trade war with China is a permanent fixture as part of a megatrend of the world's existing superpower, i.e. the United States, in conflict with the emerging superpower China, that will ultimately result in outright military conflict. China is busy building the infrastructure for its empire right across the globe, fundamental to which is the One Belt Road initiative and deep sea ports that includes nations such as Pakistan and its Gwadar port, as China effectively lays down the blueprints for its empire. It's just as the British Empire went from a series of trading companies to outright colonialism and theft of territory, then so will China's trade roads and ports from the basis of a future Chinese military empire. Now, none of this is new of what Trump has done and what China is doing, for instance, in the South China Sea. As in two pieces of in-depth analysis, I set forth what I expected to follow in the US-China war megatrend, which were posted before Trump took office, which are just as valid today as when first posted, for the trend firmly remains in the forecast direction, encompassing trade, economics, cyber, market, corporate, territory and nuclear. The Trump war with China is now into its third year, and it's still the mainstream media remains largely clueless as to what is actually going on and its consequences, which is why they keep getting caught by surprise. Furthermore, despite what transpired on Friday, we still have many speculating on who is actually winning or losing this trade war, when it was always been crystal clear right from the outset that China most definitely will lose the Trump trade war, as my video from mid-2018 illustrates. And maybe the United States will snack on Iran before it gets going with countering the Chinese military threat, wrap up loose ends so to speak, for its petrodollar Gulf client states. And this is what China is seeking to replicate across Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and even into Europe, with fools like the Italian Prime Minister bending over backwards to welcome their future colonial masters. So there will be many US-China flashpoints over the coming decade as China seeks to displace the United States all the way back to the Americas. Uber is currently losing $1 billion per quarter. After all, it's just a glorified cab company with an app. So its current business model clearly does not work. However, the big plan is to replace drivers with robots. That's going to take some time to achieve, and maybe someone else will get there first. So basically, don't get carried away with investing in Uber, for there are far better tech stock players that are covered in my top 10 AI stocks analysis. As for Beyond Friday, well, I just don't see it as a good investment. Like I say, there are better stocks out there. Do subscribe for my next video, which is an update to my stock market trend forecast. And remember, patrons always get first access to all of my analysis and trend forecasts, so do consider becoming a patron by supporting my work for just $3 per month.